Mystical City of God, translated from the original Spanish by Michael Kress, read by the translator. Dramatizations are also included. This is the full 4-volume Mystical City of God. This is Book 1, Chapter 1. First part. This section recounts the life of the Queen of Heaven, detailing what the Most High accomplished in this pure creature from her immaculate conception to the moment the Word took human flesh in her virginal womb. It also describes the favors bestowed upon her during her first 15 years and the virtues she herself cultivated through divine grace. This section covers the predestination of Mary Most Holy, her immaculate conception, her birth, and her activities and spiritual practices up until her presentation in the temple. Chapter 1. This section describes 2 particular visions that the Lord revealed to my soul, along with other insights and mysteries that urged me to detach from earthly concerns, elevating my spirit and dwelling to a higher realm above the earth. I confess and magnify you, Most High King, who in your infinite goodness and majesty have hidden these profound mysteries from the wise and learned, yet revealed them to me, your humble servant, the least and most insignificant member of your church. Through this, you make yourself known as the Almighty and the author of this work, made all the more wondrous by the lowliness and frailty of the instrument you have chosen. This Most High Lord, after my prolonged resistance, disorderly fears, and great anxieties born of my cowardice as I faced the vast and immeasurable sea of wonders into which I was called, fearing I might drown in its depths, granted me a virtue from on high, gentle, strong, effective, and sweet. It was a light that illuminated my understanding, subdued my rebellious will, calmed and ordered my inner and outer senses, and surrendered my entire being to the pleasure and will of the Most High, seeking in all things only His glory and honor. In this state of grace, I heard the voice of the Almighty who called me and drew me to Himself with great power, raising my soul to the heights, Sirach 51:13, and strengthening me against the lions that roared hungrily, seeking to turn my soul away from the good offered to it. These trials came as I sought knowledge of the great sacraments and mysteries contained within this tabernacle and holy city of God. He delivered me from the gates of tribulation, where I was invited to enter, encircled by the pains of death, Psalm 17 verse 5, Vulgate, and surrounded by the flames of this Sodom and Babylon in which we live. They sought to overwhelm me, blinding me and enticing me to give myself over to their false delights, offering apparent pleasures to my senses, yet only feeding them with lies and deceptions. From all these snares laid at my feet, the Most High rescued me. He lifted my spirit, instructing me with powerful admonitions on the path of perfection. He invited me to embrace a life of spiritualization and angelic virtue, even within mortal flesh. He compelled me to live so watchfully that, even amid the furnace, the fire could not touch me. I was freed from the polluted tongue, despite being fed with worldly fables time and again. His Majesty called me to rise from the dust and frailty caused by the law of sin. He urged me to resist the effects of fallen human nature, holding back its disordered inclinations and dissolving them in the light of truth. He raised me above myself, and with the strength of a mighty God, the corrections of a loving Father, and the caresses of a faithful spouse, He often called to me, saying, "My dove, the work of my hands, rise up, hasten, and come to me. I am the light in the way. Whoever follows me does not walk in darkness. Come to me, for I am the sure truth, certain holiness, the all-powerful, wise, and guide of the wise." The effects of these words pierced my soul like arrows of sweet love, filling me with admiration, reverence, fear, and a profound awareness of my sins and unworthiness. Overwhelmed, I withdrew, shrank, and felt utterly annihilated before the greatness of God. Yet the Lord in His mercy spoke to me, saying, "Come, soul, come to me. I am your Almighty God. Even though you have been prodigal and sinful, rise from the earth and come to me, your Father. Receive the robe of my friendship and the ring of a bride." While in the state of spiritual elevation I described, I one day saw 6 holy angels appointed by the Almighty to assist me in this work, and in other times of struggle. They purified and prepared me, and after completing their task, they presented me before the Lord. His Majesty then granted my soul a new light and a quality akin to glory, equipping and strengthening me to perceive and understand realities beyond the capacities of earthly creatures. Afterward, 2 other angels of a higher hierarchy appeared to me. I felt them calling me with great power on behalf of the Lord. I understood that they were deeply mysterious and intended to reveal to me exalted and hidden sacraments. With diligence and eagerness I responded, longing to partake in the goodness they proclaimed to me. With ardent desire I expressed my willingness to see what they wished to reveal, though they kept it veiled in mystery. But they replied with great severity, saying, "Stop, soul." Surprised, I turned to these noble beings and said, "Princes of the Almighty and messengers of the great King, why do you now restrain me, after having called me, by hindering my will and delaying the joy and delight you have stirred within me? What is this strength and power of yours that calls, inflames, and draws me near, yet holds me back at the same time? You summon me with the fragrance of my beloved in his ointments, yet bind me with unyielding chains. Tell me, I beg you, the reason for this." They answered, "Soul, it is necessary for you to come barefoot and stripped of all your attachments and passions, if you wish to understand these sublime mysteries. Such truths do not align with or tolerate sinful inclinations. Remove your shoes, as Moses was commanded, for only thus was he permitted to behold the miraculous burning bush." Hearing this, I replied, "Princes and lords, much was asked of Moses, for though clothed in earthly nature, he acted with angelic virtue. Yet he was holy and righteous, whereas I am a sinner, burdened with miseries. My heart is troubled and cries out against this servitude and the law of sin, which I feel warring within my members, contrary to the law of my spirit." To this they replied, "Soul, it would indeed be an overwhelming burden if you were to rely solely on your own strength. But the Most High, who calls you to this disposition, is powerful and will not withhold his help if you ask for it sincerely and are prepared to receive it. His power, which caused the bush to burn without being consumed, can also preserve a soul imprisoned in the fire of passions from being destroyed, provided it desires to be freed. Ask him for what he commands, he also enables. In his strength you will accomplish all things. Therefore, remove your shoes and weep bitterly. Cry out from the depths of your heart, so that your prayer may be heard and your desire fulfilled." I then saw that a richly adorned veil covered a treasure, and my will burned with fervor, longing for the veil to be drawn aside and for the hidden sacrament, revealed by my understanding, to be uncovered. In response to my desire, I was told, "Obey, soul, what you are being admonished and commanded. Strip yourself of all attachments, and it will be revealed to you." I resolved to amend my life and overcome my disordered appetites. With deep sighs and heartfelt cries from the depths of my soul, I begged for this blessing to be unveiled to me. As I renewed my resolve, the veil covering my treasure began to lift. Finally, the veil was completely removed, and my inner eyes beheld what words cannot adequately describe or express. I saw a great sign in heaven, a mysterious vision, a woman, a most beautiful lady and queen, crowned with stars, clothed with the sun, and with the moon beneath her feet. The holy angels said to me, "This is the blessed woman whom St. John saw in the Apocalypse. In her are enclosed, deposited, and sealed the marvelous mysteries of redemption. The Most High and Almighty has so greatly exalted this creature that even we, his angels, are filled with admiration. Contemplate her excellences and write of them, for this vision is revealed to you for your benefit and for the sake of others." I perceived so many wonders that my soul was struck speechless with awe, and my mind was suspended in admiration. Even in this mortal life, I do not judge any creature capable of fully comprehending these mysteries. I will explain more of this vision as I continue in the discourse ahead. One day, during a moment of stillness and serenity, in the same state of spiritual elevation I described, I heard the voice of the Most High speak to me. "My spouse, I desire that you fully commit yourself to seeking me with sincerity and diligence. Love me fervently, and let your life become more angelic than human. Detach yourself from all earthly concerns. Rise from the dust like one who is poor and needy, even as if you were lifted from the mire. As I raise you up, humble yourself, and let the fragrance of your virtues bring a sweet aroma in my presence. Recognize your weakness and misery, and understand that you deserve tribulation, and in it you should embrace true humility with all your heart. Contemplate my greatness and your littleness. I am just and holy, and in my equity I afflict you with mercy, not punishing you as you truly deserve. Build upon this foundation of humility to acquire all other virtues, so that you may fulfill my will. To guide, correct, and instruct you, I appoint my mother, the Virgin, as your teacher. She will instruct you and lead your steps in accordance with my pleasure and approval. This queen stood before me as the Most High Lord spoke these words, and the divine princess graciously accepted the office Her Majesty entrusted to her. She said to me,
"My daughter, I desire you to be my disciple and companion. I will be your teacher. But take heed, you must obey me with fortitude. From this day forward, let no trace of Adam's fallen nature be found in you. My life, the works of my earthly pilgrimage, and the wonders wrought in me by the powerful arm of the Most High must serve as your mirror and the guide for your life."
I prostrated myself before the royal throne of the King and Queen of the universe, offering to obey in all things. I gave thanks to the Most High for granting me such unparalleled protection and guidance, far beyond anything I could deserve. I renewed my vows of profession in her hands, and once again resolved to obey her and dedicate all my strength to the amendment of my life. The Lord then said to me, "Take heed and look." I obeyed, and I saw a beautiful ladder with many steps, attended by a multitude of angels, some ascending and others descending upon it. His Majesty said to me, "This is the mysterious ladder of Jacob, the house of God, and the gate of heaven. If you prepare yourself, and if your life is such that my eyes find no fault in you, you will ascend to me by this ladder." This promise stirred my desire, inflamed my will, and elevated my spirit. With many tears, I lamented being a burden to myself, weighed down by my own faults. I longed for the end of my captivity, and for the moment when nothing would stand in the way of perfect love. Filled with this longing, I spent several days striving to perfect my life. I made a general confession once more, and worked to correct certain imperfections. The vision of the ladder remained before me, but its meaning was not yet clear. During this time I made many promises to the Lord, renewing my resolve to detach myself entirely from earthly things and to keep my will free for Him alone. I determined not to allow my heart to incline toward anything, no matter how small or seemingly harmless. I rejected and renounced all that was vain and visible. After spending several days in this state of devotion, the Most High revealed to me the true meaning of the ladder. It represented the life of the Blessed Virgin, her virtues, and her sacraments. His Majesty then said to me, "I desire, my spouse, that you ascend this ladder of Jacob and enter through this gate of heaven, so that you may come to know my attributes and contemplate my divinity. Rise, walk, and ascend to me by this ladder. The angels who assist and accompany her are those whom I have appointed to guard and defend her, and to protect this city of Zion. Contemplate these virtues and strive to imitate them." It seemed to me that I began to climb this ladder, and I came to understand the greatest and most ineffable wonders, the most astounding marvels that the Lord has ever worked in a pure creature. I beheld the highest holiness and perfection of virtues ever wrought by the arm of the Almighty. At the top of the ladder I saw the Lord of Lords and the Queen of all creation. They commanded me to glorify, praise, and exalt Him for these magnificent sacraments, and to write down what I understood of them. The exalted and eminent Lord engraved upon my soul, as on tablets greater than those of Moses, a law written with His powerful finger. He moved my will to manifest this law in the presence of the most pure Queen. She would overcome my resistance, and with her help I would write her most holy life, focusing on 3 essential points. First, to demonstrate the profound reverence due to the eternal God, and to show how the creature must humble and abase itself even more, when His immense majesty draws closer in grace. The effect of the greatest favors and benefits should be an increase in fear, reverence, attention, and humility. Second, to help the human race, forgetful of its remedy, recognize and understand what it owes to its Queen and Mother of Mercy. This includes the works of redemption, the love and reverence she had for God, and the love and veneration we owe to this great lady. Third, so that whoever governs my soul, and indeed the entire world, if it is fitting, might know my frailty and unworthiness, as well as the poor return I give for the gifts I have received. To this the Blessed Virgin replied, My daughter, the world is in great need of this doctrine, because it does not know nor show due reverence to the Almighty Lord. Because of this ignorance, the audacity of mortals provokes the justice of God, leading him to afflict and oppress them. They are consumed by their forgetfulness and blinded by their darkness, unable to seek remedy or guidance through the light. This stems from their lack of fear and reverence, which they ought to have for the Lord. The Most High and the Queen gave me these and other warnings to reveal their will for this work. It seemed to me a reckless and uncharitable act toward myself to reject the doctrine, and teaching that this great lady had promised to share in the account of her most holy life. Nor did it seem fitting to delay this work for another time, as the Most High informed me that this is the proper and appointed moment. Concerning this, he spoke to me, saying, My daughter, when I sent my only begotten Son into the world, it was in the worst state it had ever been since the beginning, with only a few faithful souls remaining to serve me. Human nature is so frail that, unless it submits to the inner governance of my light and the guidance of my ministers, setting aside its own opinions and following me, who am the way, the truth, and the life, while keeping my commandments and remaining in my friendship, it falls into the depths of darkness and countless miseries. From one abyss it sinks into another until it reaches obstinacy and sin. From the creation and fall of the first man until the law I gave to Moses, humanity followed its own inclinations, committing grave errors and sins. Even after I gave the law, many transgressed by refusing to obey it, straying further from truth and light until they reached a state of utter forgetfulness. Yet in my paternal love, I sent eternal salvation and healing to humanity, offering a remedy for its incurable wounds and justifying my cause, as I chose the moment for my mercy to shine most brilliantly in the incarnation of my Son. So now I wish to show great mercy again. This is the appointed time to do so before my hour comes, when the world will face countless charges, and its sins will stand exposed, proving the justice of my indignation. At that time I will reveal my wrath, my justice, and my equity, showing how fully justified my cause is. Now, however, is the time when my mercy must be most greatly manifested, and I do not wish for my love to remain idle. The world has entered a most unhappy age, even after the Word was made flesh. Mortals have grown increasingly neglectful of their true good, seeking it less and less. The day of their transient lives nears its end, the sun of time sets, and the eternal night comes upon the condemned. For the righteous, however, the eternal day dawns, a day without night. Yet, the majority of mortals remain in the darkness of ignorance and guilt, oppressing the righteous and mocking the children of God. My holy and divine law is despised by corrupt earthly systems, hateful and opposed to my providence. The wicked feel the least obligation to me, but looking upon the few righteous who remain acceptable in my sight, I desire to open a door for all to enter my mercy. I will provide a lantern to illuminate the darkness of their blindness, and a timely remedy for those willing to accept it, enabling them to return to my grace. Blessed are those who find this remedy, and blessed are those who understand its value. Rich are those who discover this treasure. Happy and wise are those who reverently study it and comprehend its mysteries and sacraments. I want all to know the power of the intercession of the one who bore the remedy for their sins, giving mortal life in her womb to the immortal. Let them gaze upon her life as a mirror, reflecting their ingratitude, and contemplate the marvelous works of my powerful arm accomplished in this pure creature. I will reveal many hidden wonders, kept secret by my divine judgment, that I worked through the Mother of the Word. In the early days of the Church, I did not reveal these mysteries, for they are so magnificent that the faithful would have become preoccupied with studying and marveling at them, when it was necessary instead to establish the law of grace and the gospel. Although these truths were entirely compatible with faith, human ignorance might have given rise to suspicions and doubts, especially during the formative years of belief in the Incarnation, the Redemption, and the new evangelical law. For this reason, the humanized Word said to his disciples at the Last Supper, I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now." In saying this, he spoke not only to the apostles, but to all who were not yet ready to receive such revelations until the law of grace and faith in the Son were firmly established. Only then would it be time to introduce the mysteries and faith of his mother. Now, however, the need is greater than ever, and the urgency compels me more than human readiness does. If mortals would humble themselves to revere, believe, and come to know the wonders contained within the Mother of Mercy, and if they sought her intercession with sincere hearts, the world would find some measure of salvation. Therefore, I do not wish to delay in placing before them this mystical city of refuge. I want it described and illustrated as far as your abilities and my grace allow. Let it be known that this description and revelation of her life is not based on opinions or contemplations, but on the true and divine truth. Let those who have ears to hear, hear. Let those who thirst come to the abundant cisterns. Let those who desire light follow it to its fullness. Thus speaks the Lord God. These are the words that the Most High spoke to me on the occasion I have just recounted. As for the manner in which I received this doctrine and light, and how I came to know the Lord, I will explain in the following chapter, in obedience to the command given to me. I will also make clear the insights and mercies I have received in this way, as I continue to describe them in the chapters ahead.